Who are you texting?
I'm actually sharing this to my page so that we can do this right. So yeah, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Today is a very Monday-ish Monday. I have to say it's a very
Oh wow, good for you.
Yeah. Not trying to, not trying to do anything inappropriate here, but I did get my microchip installed this morning. I got to go back for the second microchip
in a month.
And April 26th, as a matter of fact. The guy said, I'm going to feel a little pinch, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And then he's applying the Band-Aid. And I'm like, oh, it didn't hurt, because I still sweat these things. I don't like holes being poked in me.
No.
And I'm glad. I'm glad that was I'm glad that part is done.
Yeah, so, I bet. Good for you.
So how are you doing? And we're going to talk about listing presentations today, right? Taking listings?
Yeah.
I like taking listings.
Listings are good. Listings. And a few people this week have said to me, oh, no, I don't need a listing presentation.
No, you do need a listing presentation. You may not have to give them the whole horse and pony show, but there's some things that have to be gone over, no matter how you slice it, so that we don't have any misunderstandings, because it's the largest transaction of people's lives.
And the thing about a horse and pony show is, like, you don't know if they like the horse. You don't know if they like the pony. You don't know if they like both of them. You don't know if they don't like any animals. You don't know anything, basically. Even with people that if you haven't been practicing like in-depth personality profiling for years and years and years, I can guarantee you that you don't even know what your friends and family would want as far as a presentation goes. You really don't, because unless you're thinking of it from that perspective, and you get into that habit of profiling everybody DISC, which I guess I pretty much am in that habit now, but it took a long time. So, but like my mother, who loves me very much and would probably always list her house with me, it would be a huge mistake if I did not go through an entire listing appointment with my mother. Yes.
Okay.
I would never.
Well, mothers are different animals.
Well, no, anybody with my mother.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So she has I want to dot the I's, I want to cross the T's, and I want to know how you're going to cross the T's and why you're going to cross those T's, and kind of personality. So.
Well, you should, though. I mean, so here's the thing. This is every salesperson, which we are, wants to get the signature on the dotted line.
Yeah.
And we want to get it as expeditiously as possible. And we don't want to buy it back or talk people out of it inadvertently by going through the whole presentation and missing the mark. But we should understand some basic underpinnings going forward, so that we can manage expectations, so that the consumer understands the process, so that they have an idea of what's going on here, how are we going to do showings and everything like that.
Yes.
I was in someone's beautiful garden Saturday morning at 11, gorgeous house in Briarcliff Manor. All right. They've lived there for 35 years. Did not give them the slides and this is what we're going to do and everything like that, but went over the nuts and bolts with them so that expectations would be managed and that I wouldn't have them come to me later and saying, why didn't you tell me? That, by the way, is the last thing you want to hear a client say.
Why didn't you tell me? Exactly.
How come you didn't tell me?
Well,
how come you didn't tell me this?
I learned this all the difficult way, because I have a pretty much magic gift of always getting things signed. I just always did. And I didn't really have to go through it. And then, when you keep running into the same problems over and over again, and you realize that it was big lack of a consultation on your part, and then literally all these years of experience, being able to see around corners before they know about the corners is pretty powerful stuff. And
yes, it is.
Makes everybody's life a lot easier to have these conversations, so that
yes, it is.
When the problems arise, they've anticipated that, and they knew that you would have an answer for it. You know.
Okay, so let's give me an example. Give me an example of expectations that we have to manage. I've got one in my head, but you give me one.
Expectations that we have to manage. Expectations that we have to manage: communication. How you know, like, they can't get mad at you if you were very clear that I'm going to be reaching out to you every Monday morning. Every Monday morning, you will hear from me. You will not have to pick up the phone. You will not have to think about it. You are going to hear from me. Now, if you didn't have that conversation and they're texting you and calling you every day.
Yeah, every day and freaking, yeah.
And now you're getting like, rah, because it can be frustrating, but you didn't set those expectations. Yeah. Communication is probably that. And I think it's one of the largest feedback that people give about their brokers was communication. And a lot of that is just the expectation. So if they have this expectation and they're going to hear from you every day, because they heard from you every day before you got the listing, right?
Absolutely. You were tenacious, right? To get the listing, we made all these promises and we made all these representations because we're in stiff competition with other brokerages, and we're going to communicate with you. And, you know, these are our happy clients. So yeah, we build ourselves up with good reason, because we're in competition to get the business. Right. We get the business. We should not take our foot off the gas.
No, because that's where you get the people who become, like, you know, raving lunatic fans, as I like to say, or the opposite.
Or pissed. Right.
Yeah, it's either going to go, well, it could go three ways. You can be mediocre, or you can just disappear, or you can create the expectations of how you guys will communicate. I find the more structure, I mean, even when I used to work with buyers, Phil, I would say right off the get-go, like, I don't work whatever day it was. I think it was Saturdays back then. Like, I don't work Saturdays. Nobody ever had a problem with that. Nobody ever like, well, we really, you know, like, it just never was an issue. Of course, if there was a second showing or, like, you know, the inspection or, you know, certain things, I would make a difference, but they were just happy to know that. So communication.
That reminds me, by the way, of something I saw. I forgot where I saw it, but it's something along the lines of, please do not mistake my time off for availability. Yeah. Just because I'm not working doesn't mean I'm available to talk to you on every whim or stream of consciousness question that you have, which is what some people do sometimes. So I have a couple of concrete examples where it not only will do the client a service, but it also does something to minimize our agita. Here's an example. People get freaked out because they take the listing. All right. They're already, the listing client is already nervous. They're going to have strangers coming through their house. They want to get the house sold. A lot of money is involved. You know, they're really like this. And then they get a text from some, like, bizarre number. And it's like, approve the showing. And all we needed to do was say to them, we have this great app. It's called Showing Time. You're not even going to have to get a phone call. You're going to get a text. Just do Y for yes, N for no, or M for propose a different time. All right. And that's going to give you all your feedback. But no, what do? We sometimes don't tell them that. And then we get this freaked out phone call. Like, I don't want to get texts. Why am I getting, who is this? What is 8367? Who are they? Why am I getting this? All these weird things are happening since I listed with you. Well, yeah,
I can tell this has happened to you.
Yes, it happened. It has. And I always used to say that, like, you phone baby boomers, you email Gen X, and you text millennials. I don't know what you do with Z, but they're a little on the young side. We'll see what happens with them. Not a lot of them own property yet, but so we have older sellers that are like, why am I getting texts? As if, like, their privacy has been invaded, like someone has my cell phone number. Okay, that's an example. Another example is no one left their business card, or they don't know how to. Was there feedback? Feedback?
Well, you know,
what was the feedback on the showing?
You know, my spiel on feedback up in the beginning.
You and I both think that, by and large, the effort to go get feedback is a waste of time. It's like wiping your forehead instead of that other thing.
If I'm working with a buyer, why am I communicating what my buyer thinks to your seller outside of an offer?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. What is feedback going to tell you that you don't already know? And why would you think that the buyer agent is going to conspire with us about this? Feedback is just an invention, but look, so feedback is just something we have to manage the expectations. The same thing goes with leaving their business cards. All right. They do something really smart in Connecticut. I love what they do in Connecticut. So you know how here, if we have an open house, we have a sign-in sheet?
Yeah.
You know what they do in Connecticut? They have a sign-in sheet for all showings. If you show a house in Connecticut, you sign the sign-in sheet like it's an open house. Probably it's not an open house, but we have a record of who was there. All right. Now we already have a digital record. Like we've got the technology that tells us who showed what when. I know when all of my doors are being opened. You know when all your doors are being opened. I know who opened them. It all comes back to us. But these are all things that we need to frame out early.
There's so many important things too, like that and when you've been doing it for so long, right? And then they happen, then you realize you need a process to this. And the listing appointment is a huge, important part of the process to prepare the seller. Like you said, obviously for expectations, but even things down to like, we want to take the chandelier. So, we'll let you know. No. Honestly, people buy what they see. You are much better off removing that chandelier and buying something nice, and replacing it before you put the house on the market.
Yeah. Or worst case scenario, we put a little Post-it note on the chandelier saying does not convey.
Right.
All right. Something is better than nothing. And as I have often said, what we do today is our love letter to future us. So we want to manage expectations with all of the showing process to educate the seller so that they know what's happening. So it's not just about getting their signature, right?
Nope, not at all.
It's about setting the tone for the next 90 to 120 days, from showings to offers to appraisals to underwriting to scheduling the closing to troubleshooting anything that might happen with the house. Yeah. So on and so forth.
And then you develop that business back and forth, which you may not have had with this person for quite some time, whatever your relationship is with them. So they'll understand the ebb and flow. They're going to sense your confidence. They're going to understand your wisdom that you're bringing to the process, which don't assume that they know or think, because they're not doing this with you all the time.
Okay, ebb and flow. I like that phraseology. It's just saying. You're hanging out with me a lot.
Huge difference if you are negotiating, because you get an offer, right? Then you go back to the seller, and then it's almost like a negotiation between you and your seller if you're not already on this same page. Right. So if you can get that flow going early in the process, every single interaction with that seller will be better for everybody.
By the way, I have to ask you, did we cover this last week about managing the expectations of the seller from the point of view of what the buyer agent may do?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Did you see my rant when I was at Gregory's barn, when I was whining about the buyer agent that lost her cookies on me?
Yeah.
Right. We didn't talk about that in last week's broadcast, did we?
No.
That was March 16th. Today is March 20th. So it was 2 weeks ago. Top producing agent didn't get her deal accepted. She was furious because we didn't go to highest and best, as if there's some sort of law. And the seller is an older person that didn't want to go to highest and best. The seller had something way over asking, was like, I'll take that one. Yeah. Shut it down. Yeah. Who are we beholden to? We're beholden to the seller, not other buyer agents. We don't work for the other companies. So,
or for the other, or for buyers. They're your buyers.
We have to let sellers know that people are going to open your cabinets. People are going to open your refrigerator. They're going to use your bathroom. Well, I don't want them using my bathroom. All right. Well, if they're going to use your bathroom, Okay. They're going to flush the toilet anyway and they're going to run the water because that's what people do when they're looking at a place where they're probably going to live. Okay.
I have so many funny bathroom stories that we just can't even. I don't care how long.
Okay, we have time. So I'm going to give you one funny bathroom story, and then if you want to share one, but I'm going to give you one funny bathroom story. So
right, I'll give you a clean one, like
fine.
A simple one. It's a COVID one. So, when we first were able to go back out, and then there was this listing I had, and it was a rental. It was a friend of Chris's client. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'll go to the house and I'll call the guy and walk through the house and blah, blah, blah. So we pull up and I quickly realized there's no Wi-Fi. I can't call the client. I can't call the homeowner in the house. And now I have to pay really, really bad. So I get in the house, but now I'm like, it's a pandemic. I don't think I can go to the bathroom here. I completely freaked out. I'm not going to tell you what I did, but that was it. It's pretty funny.
All right, I'm going to tell you what happened here. Okay, now this kid is now in high school. This is how long ago this was. This is probably about 10 years ago. All right, I'm working with buyers. I don't work with buyers directly anymore. But we walk into a house. It is a vacant house. It is a flip, and it is winterized. And they have a little girl, maybe 5, 6, and she had to use the potty. And she did. And the house was winterized.
Yes. Yep.
And whoop! But to make it up to the seller, they bought the house.
Well, that's
you
good.
poop in it, you buy it. So luckily they wanted that house. There was actually a lot of cautionary tales on that particular file, but that was my clean bathroom story.
That was pretty
on that.
Well,
But sellers need to understand that human beings with bodies and metabolisms are going to be walking through your house.
Yeah. And things like happen, and that's the other thing. Like I've gotten crazy calls from sellers and I'm always like, you know what it's like right now for a buyer's agent? They probably showed how many houses before you, how many houses after you. It's raining out today. Rain causes the appointments to be 15, 20 minutes late behind, whatever. Then they're dealing with somebody else's kids and this and that. Setting those expectations for a seller is even super important, of what it's like. It's not, like you see on TV, where usually buyer's agents are dealing with a lot.
Buyer's agents are the current real estate hero right now. So yes, they all kinds of above and beyond right now. They're dealing with all of this stuff. But I've had sellers contact me like in furious, like someone sat on the bed. I'm like, yeah, probably the father, the 75-year-old father who climbed the stairs, sat down.
Yeah.
And he's going to be writing a check for $400,000. So you want me to go yell at him now? You want me to yell at him for sitting down on your bed?
Yep. But
now this is the client. Customers you have to be nice to. Clients need to hear something even if it's uncomfortable. Right? You tell clients what they have to hear, not what they want to hear. Someone's going to flush your toilet. Someone's going to use your bathroom. Somebody may get a glass of water. They're going to open every door in the house that has hinges, cabinets, closets.
I work 7 days a week through my pregnancy with Julia. I have urinated in so many houses in Putnam County. It was 8 months. It was 8 months. And I just
Tim, put that urinated. Tim, put it in the thing. Peed and ebb and flow.
I was pregnant forever.
You've ebbed and flowed in many houses. So my kids are now used to this. We're driving around town and I'll be like, see that house? Yeah, Dad, you sold that house. You're like, hey, you see that house? Yeah, Ma.
I peed
you peed in that house. You ebbed and flowed in that house. Okay, that's good. That is good. But it all boils down to, this is something that Marie Graham says, our favorite stager. How you live and how you sell your house are completely different.
Completely different.
How you live, it's very private. You walk around in a towel, whatever. When your house is for sale, now it is very invasive. It is very uncomfortable.
Wait, I have a theory. Realtors should have to buy or sell a house and move every 5 years, because we forget. It's horrible. It is literally like the worst experience in the world is packing your house, moving your house, figuring
You said packing your house the second that Rob DeLucia sent a message, and he is the guy that we need to bring the dumpster in for half of these houses to get rid of old stuff.
Rob.
I may have a referral for Rob, by the way. Somebody asked me about needing a dumpster, so we may have a referral for you, Rob. That's what I'm saying.
He's having another baby, so he needs the money.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
What number is this?
Number 2.
Number 2?
Number 2. Wait, what were we just gonna say though?
How you live and how you sell your house are very different. It is very invasive. It is very unsettling. It's very different. And frankly, if you're older and you don't want to go to highest and best and you want to end the showings because you're satisfied with one of the offers, I'm not going to tell you you have to have half the world traipse through your house just so I can say we went to highest and best. No. I don't need to do that. I want to get paid.
And understands the process, which it's so much better to explain that process, especially, if they're going to get multiple bids and, whatever. So much better explain that process as well, long before it happens. So they're anticipating that. And then you're now not just giving them advice based on what's happening in the moment. You gave them this advice ahead of time because you've been here before.
We talked about that, right? Yeah. You can say to a client, we talked about that. If you recall, I warned you that you're going to get some people pulling up in your driveway. By the way, this is worth bringing up. And I warn every seller about this. You can almost set your watch by it. Especially, I found it happen more in Southern Westchester, but it happens everywhere. The house is on the market. The sellers are eager to sell. And somebody knocks on the door unannounced. And the scam is they just came up from the city and they can't reach your agent, and could they just walk through the house? Don't let them in, especially when you say, well, call Jen. Call Jen. She's the listing agent. You need an appointment. They say, oh, she's not answering her phone. We've been trying to answer her. We've been trying to get her. Baloney. Mm-hmm. That is such baloney.
Wait, are we allowed? Is it illegal to say there are certain markets that we are in that this happens more than others?
Well, I find the closer to the city you get, the more often it happens. But it's happened everywhere. I've seen it happen in Dutchess County. And those people, by and large, are scammers. I will tell you that right now. They are scammers. First of all, why would they think somehow if they get to the seller and they can somehow cut a deal without the agents involved? Or worse, that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they're staking your house out. All they need to do is unlock one window, and you're like, oh, look at over here and look at that. Because you don't know how to pre-qualify them. You don't know if they belong in your house, right? Yeah, so exactly. I always warn people about the door knockers who come without an agent and claim they can't reach your agent. It's such baloney.
Well, in the Bronx recently, I had an experience with agents doing that. That's what I thought.
I can't reach your agent. Right. That's baloney. Well, sometimes in the Bronx, you legitimately can't reach the listing agent, but you know something? Well, that happens in every county, and it doesn't happen with our brand.
But hold on, most of the time you don't need to. There's you be quiet, Bill. I didn't say your house. I'm just kidding.
Is it a house in the Bronx?
Yeah, but they had an experience with just agents just showing up with other agents from other companies. It was really strange. We had a few strange experiences.
Yeah, we don't need strange experiences like that.
No.
The industry is weird enough. The industry is strange enough. People are already stressed out enough.
Yep.
But the point is, we want to educate the seller on how different it's going to be, what comes next, what comes after. That's another popular question. What's next?
Yeah.
What happens next?
Yeah.
What do we do now? We have an offer. What's next? Yeah. Or we have we have an accepted offer. What's next? They did their inspection. What's next? People should have an understanding of what the chronology is of what's next, because they don't do this very often. This is a very infrequent occurrence.
And that's just it. We just get so used to it that we forget, and we just start plowing through things. But that's, quite frankly, that's what makes the huge difference between a good, successful broker and brokers that are struggling, just paying attention to those details and not taking things for granted and going through the process. Quite frankly, I think the more you are with friends and family, the more process you should put through things so that everybody's clear and on the same page.
All right. So, I just got my shot today, right? I just got a text from a friend. Judy Moriarty?
Yeah.
Hi, Phil. This is Bill Gates. Please bring us one small child in exchange for not getting COVID. Thank you. As I was in line, by the way, this is not related to real estate, but I suppose you can make a connection. As I was in line at Westchester Community College to get my shot, I was looking around at all the people I was in line with, and I was thinking to myself, there is not one person in here that would be of any interest to Bill Gates. There's not one person in here that is remotely interesting to spy on. Why would we want to spy on these people? Why would we want to put how could you, first of all, you can't put a microchip in somebody with a syringe, but even if you could, why would you want to?
This theory that I don't know about.
It's just a bunch of baloney QAnon garbage, where people think that the vaccine is going to make us trackable and they can watch our every move. Like they don't already do that with our cell phone.
I post like what I ate for breakfast and where. Exactly. I'm pretty sure I'm trackable.
I know exactly. I know what your blood sugar is just by looking at your Facebook. So why do I need to poke you with a needle? And I will get Judy a answer on that other question. She says hi to you. Maybe you had this with Jen and yeah.
Hi, Judy.
Yeah, hi, Judy. Judy Moriarty, our friend.
Hi.
We love Judy. Judy is our New Jersey go-to down in Central Jersey. If we're going down to what is that county that Mercer County, Trenton. She's the queen of down there. That's what she is. So, what else do we need to manage with people with the first meeting?
We already said communication, the process, understanding what is important to them. Where'd you go? He just disappeared. So understanding what's important to the seller, obviously, so that you know what to bring up and to what not bring up. Where did he go? What the heck are you doing?
Somebody sent a chat, and it was actually Tim, and I tried to exit out of the chat, and I left the studio. And now you're on the other side. Now you're over there. You were over here. Now you're over there.
That's weird.
I don't know. Carry on as you were.
We're always on that other side. I don't know.
You're over there now, but you were over here.
Well, now you get the logo over your head. We were just talking about what setting expectations when you first meet people. Right,
exactly. So I may exit out of chat and then no, we don't want to say that. There's an awful lot, but the chronology of things is pretty much why you want to not skip everything and give them the nuts and bolts about the process. Right. There are some things about our marketing that they should understand as well. There's some things about how it will be, how the property will be marketed, how they will be contacted.
I mean, even, how many times when I first got started, I didn't get into the marketing too much or even have as much confidence as I do, like a few months into the listing or, when things took a lot longer, when the seller would be like, oh, somebody reached out to me directly and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And like, they start to act like that person just out of the blue. No. See, people are going to start to reach out to you because of the marketing efforts. You're good. Yeah. People are going to come directly up to you. That one thing, by having that conversation ahead of time, it took me a long time to understand it.
Right. All right. So this is probably worth bringing up. Sometimes people will say, well, I know what I have to pay you if you bring a buyer, but what do I pay you if I bring the buyer? Well, look, here's the deal. How do we ever going to discern who brought the buyer when maybe they ran into you in the supermarket and they brought it up because they saw the listing on the internet that your broker put on there?
Right.
So how do we discern that? You can't. which is why we very, very seldom make special deals, except if there's an exclusion list of people that will already knew that they wanted to sell and haven't bought it yet. Like, for example, if for sale by owner can give us a 30-day exclusion list. But I got to tell you, I've never listed a for sale by owner or anybody with an exclusion up front where they actually use the exclusion.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I was on the flip side of that where I didn't know my buyer was an exclusion. That was not fun.
Oh, that would be awkward. That's a whole nother episode. Who the hell were you working with?
That was a long time ago. Listen, a lot of the mistakes you make in this business are expensive ones. So it's really good when you have a broker who will be forthcoming with you. Sometimes a lot of my meetings have been, don't do this. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do that.
Tuition in the school of life. Expensive mistakes. My very first broker, Paul Krigo, would call expensive mistakes tuition in the school of life. That's what you just paid tuition in the school of life, my friend, as I watched a commission float away. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment.
Yep. I've got a lot of experience.
Yeah, I'm very experienced. We're both very experienced. All right. So I don't have any other witticisms to say. You've done a great job for us. Always there to answer all of your questions. How much are we going to pay this guy for saying all these nice things?
Well, double now because he didn't say anything about you.
We've never met. Yeah.
Nope.
Thank you, Bill.
No, Bill and Carmen are great.
Yes.
A lot of business with them.
Good. Repeat business is always a good affirmation of your brand.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. So we wrapped up. What else should we add? What cherry can we put on top of this broadcast Sunday?
This is one of the things that I always say. You know how a plumber comes to your house, comes in, does whatever, but did you ever look inside the plumber's van? I mean, there's more tools inside of a plumber's van than I've seen in probably any other industry. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
How often have you ever seen the plumber use more than one tool from that van?
Yeah, but they already knew which tool to take in.
But they have it. They have the confidence to show up at every single job because they've got it if they need it. So
they have it in the holster. Exactly.
Even if you don't go through the whole dog and pony show, you don't know exactly until you get down to that table what's important to them.
Yeah.
Details, facts, stats, maybe. Who knows what's important? Communication.
We haven't covered this. It's probably worth bringing up, though. The why they are selling is an under-discussed thing that every listing agent should know, because we have to understand what their orientation is, what's important to them, and that guides us in how we advocate for them. Their reasons for selling is profoundly important. And if you go right into your spiel for how great you are, and you don't listen to them and find out what's important to them, it's potluck.
Well, and then when they're arguing over a washer and dryer or over $1,500, you can bring them back and remind them, hey, you told me that the most important thing in the world to you was to be out of this house by the beginning of the day. Yeah.
Or to be near your grandchildren.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
here we are. We're going to, what's more important? The washer dryer or the grandchildren? We can say that to the other side as well. And we don't want to use the why against them. But we do want to make sure that we bring them back to the reality of everything.
Oh, absolutely. It just makes puts the emotion back into the decision, which, most of the time we're trying to keep out of, but this is what they want. This is their
the right emotion into it, though.
Right.
If people can be focused on the future, or they can be pissed off about some perceived slight. Right. So do you want to have the trajectory of the next 18 months of your life ruined over a dryer?
No.
Probably not. A dryer was not that important.
Nope, exactly.
Right.
We're on the same page.
That's too bad. I like it better when we don't.
I think we started this with the saying that maybe just get the signature. You might have had a little bit of thinking that.
I can't play devil's advocate with you there. I mean, so I don't necessarily think you have to give the entire presentation. If our listing presentation, I believe, is somewhere between 15 and 20 slides. All right. Maybe we don't need to hit them over the head with our international listing system or our virtual reality 3D or something like that. But by and large, they need to know full context of what's going on. And it would also behoove us to summarize things so that take copious notes so that we remain on the same page with them and we keep to ourselves top of mind what their priorities are.
Which is a huge reason to use a presentation so that you have the process and remembering all the information you have to get as well. It's really, you know, there's a lot of processing going on when listing a property and information that's important that they're counting on you to catch. So, yeah,
people have a lot going on. What is it? My brother just texted me. My brother is texting me. That, by the way, that's what I'd probably look like without hair. My brother just texted me. He and my sister-in-law. I guess they're watching us online. So hi, Jen. Hi, Maria. I guess they don't have your cell phone.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. So I guess that. I'm trying to think of how we look alike.
You do. Look alike? All the Farandas look alike.
You know, it's weird.
What?
We sound alike.
Yeah, you do.
We sound alike. We're all very nasal.
Nasal.
We're all very nasal. Yeah. We're all very
Am I nasally? I'm not nasally.
Yeah, pretty nasal. Yeah, you're a nasal chick. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Jennifer? Because I got fires to put out. It's Monday.
That's it.
It's a good broadcast. We did good.
The listing presentation. Yes, we did good.
Okay. All right. Good. Take it away, Tim.